on the whole, the situation is improving. It has improved since 2003-04, but there are still some very disturbing statistics. For example, in primary education, about 12% of children who should be in school are not in school in Ghana. So about 400,000 children are still not in education. That's a very, very high figure. And these are children who probably will not go to school, and there are very few opportunities for you to, to start later. So if you don't get into school at the right time, and you're a little bit older than the average, it's very difficult to get back into the system. Then you have a lot of kids who are in school, but they are likely to drop out because there's a pyramid in the education structure. It's very wide at the bottom, and then it gets narrower and narrower, and by the time you get to secondary school, only 30% of children are in secondary school. And when you get to tertiary education, that is polytechnics, teacher training colleges, universities, it's only about 6%. So you have base at the bottom and then very few going on. So a lot of kids either drop out along the way for various reasons, or they don't pass the very competitive exams. And at every stage, from 15 years, you have to take a competitive exam to move to the next stage. So after 9 years, you take a competitive exam. If you don't do well, you don't go to the next stage. Or if you don't do well, you might get into a secondary school, but it won't be a very well-endowed one. And then the chances of passing the next exam at the end of senior high school, the chances of passing would be very, very slim. You're not likely to go on to university. So you have a large number of young people who are out of school from 15 and from 18 plus, who are not in further training and who are not in employment. And this is a big challenge. What do you do with these thousands of young people every year who are out of employment, who are out of education, and have no opportunities? If you go around the streets of Accra, and some of you, I know, the Ghanaians, you see people selling on the streets, and they're young people between the ages of sometimes as young as 10 and up to 25. And this is called informal employment in Ghana, because it's really the only job they qualify to do and will likely continue to do. And that's just selling little odds and ends, whatever they can sell. We used to say these people are selling dog chains, because initially they started selling dog chains, but now they sell absolutely everything. And that's their career. And it's not much of a career, not much of a future for young people. That's not to say the government isn't aware of this. The government knows there is a big problem. How to tackle it is another issue. The other problem is that many girls are not in school, and out of the 400,000, more than half of them, those who are not in primary school, would be girls, because the gender parity ratio is still not very good. It's still about 0.96. So a lot of girls don't go to school, and the reasons, I think, maybe are quite well known. Mainly poverty, or linked to poverty, cultural practices, gender stereotyping, sometimes early marriages. In the northern part of Ghana, where the predominant religion is Muslim, many families marry the girls off when they're very, very young. And they say that they do this for different reasons. Some say that the girls have to be virgins, or they won't get husbands, or the parents get bride price. The money is paid, and it's a way of getting money. If you marry your daughter and you get the bride price, you get some income from that. So you have a number of reasons for girls not going to school, and they're difficult. It's difficult to change these practices. We also have a lot of gender-based violence in schools, and it's been around for a long time, but people are talking about it now, which is a good thing, because people didn't talk about such things. If a girl was assaulted by a teacher or a peer, if she told her family, they usually were afraid to report the case, and they tried to keep it quiet. But now, more and more cases are being reported. And fortunately, the police even have a special unit, the domestic support unit for such cases. But still, many cases don't go unreported, and prosecutions are very slow and not always very effective. So that's another reason that keeps girls out of school, and something that really has to, needs a concerted effort to overcome. And then we have the situation where compulsory education is guaranteed by the Constitution, that every child is supposed to have basic education. But if you don't go to school, nobody enforces it. No social welfare officer is going to go to your house and say, you haven't been to school, the school has reported you, you have to be in school, you're not 15 yet. So a lot of children fall by the wayside or through the cracks because there isn't any enforcement. There are policies on enforcement, and parents can even be, according to the law, they can be liable for a fine, but nobody ever fines a parent for not sending his child to school, and no social welfare officer ever goes to a house to find out why children are not in school. So these are some of the issues that we have to deal with.